from American Aborigines Unchained here on YouTube and in the Facebook group. And okay, so I haven't done a video in like 2 weeks or whatever, so I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. Um, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about something. I'm trying to kind of like put three put something into perspective, but I'm using three different ways or approaches. I'm not sure if you understand or understand, but we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. So I don't even know how to articulate this, but maybe we'll start with some of the images first. Okay. So again, on this channel, we talk a lot about the caste system. We talk a lot about the biblical aspect going side by side with the historical aspect of things. Um, and we have an alternative approach of looking at these things so that we can get a better understanding or overstanding as to what is going on, what has gone on, what will go on, and what is going on. Okay. So right here we have another form of the caste system. And I kind of like this one because it says like what, you know, it kind of gives an image here for a couple of things. Like, okay, so right here it's talking about, I'm guessing this is the mouthpiece. Because also remember, if we're thinking about the caste system, if we're thinking about the chakras, if we're thinking about a being sitting in Indian style, okay, whether we're talking about what I'm going to show you in a second when it comes to um, the man that is sitting in Indian style when it comes to the caste system, and it's showing the 3 or 4 heads, I believe, um, and so on. Also think about that as, this pyramid structure where the top, your temple would be at the top, your head, and then your, your knees or whatever, actually feel kind of making it like it's cut off actually, um, to be sitting in that form. But anyhow, we're gonna go ahead. Let me stop saying and let's go get right into it. So this is kind of like how we're talking about right here. Would be talking about the Brahmins or Abraham. Would be the it would be the on the regular caste system structure. It would be the education, which we already know to educate is to lead away or lead out what is there in the mind. I'm just saying, and put something new. Okay, it could be true or not true, but to the people that are receiving this information, it will be the truth until they see otherwise. So we'll be talking about the those with the mouthpiece that are always talking, but there's no substance to it because it's not the correct information. And again, it's being started at the top, but by the time it trickles down to the bottom, there's no weight to it, right? Okay. We also want to think about the heaven is my abode, thinking even this structure altogether being the house of God, or, okay, or a form of a house, or ark, or structure, right? Or temple, right? Okay. And so again, we're thinking in the church, you're getting what they would call the biblical format as to the story. In school, you're getting the somewhat literal aspect or historical aspect um, of what has happened to beings throughout this time. Both go hand in hand because, again, this is just a theoretic approach. We're always just learning and looking and seeking. But it seems to me that uh, the fact that we're comparing and we have more timelines to compare now, when it comes to lineage and family trees, that are pretty similar in more than one way to some of these entities that are in the book. So what I'm telling you is I'm feeling as though history is nothing. The Bible is history, and history is history in a way where they can show it to you in one perspective, so that you think that this is talking about one thing, and you could never put the two together to correlate them unless you're paying very close attention. Okay. And in school you're taught to read things, and even when it comes to the dictionary, the improper way, so that you can have a certain perception that does not have to be truth, but perception is everything. So they form this perception, you form an opinion of these things by what you think you know, but we have no idea because they're using different terms in order to program you. Okay. So when we're talking about this, and even when we look at the dollar bill and you see the eye on top of this pyramid, I'm thinking it's making reference to an eye symbol, but yes, maybe even the third eye when it comes to you. And then we have to cut this off into different paradigms or different sections, again, because this is the way these people like to do everything, hence the caste system. It's about division. So we have to look at this when it comes to different forms and types of people, groups of people, in order to put things back in the proper perspective. Okay. So, this could, and we can also say when it comes to those of the earth or those of the source of the all, okay, that may be being misled into believing in the religious aspect of things, okay, which is taking you away from your purity and yourself, okay, and your connection to your particular uh, creator, which you've been misled into thinking that this person that you're worshiping in church is something or some entity that's in the sky. Same thing in school, we're learning about these so-called dead presidents. It's all to take something away from you and have you focusing on something is dead in that way, but really in real life, in this structure, you are the dead people. So really, it's up to you. It's going to rub you one way, but when these children that are not original or the earth go to school and they hear about these particular people and they see these images of these people looking like them, it's going to give them a sense of uh, superiority or privilege, right? It's going to give them a different outlook, and it's going to give you one, because we're talking about these dead men, and we won't even talk about anyone that has anything to do with you. And they don't all have to be white, so-called white, what we call white today. Some of these people look just like us. It's about bloodlines, heraldry, hierarchy, the rich versus the poor. It is about the people that have some type of power, and they would have to go through a process or be foreign to this land, or think that they're foreign to this land, in order to get to some of these particular places that they are in society. Because this right here, what we're looking at, is society. It's all the way from now to the ancient times. Okay. Even we can say this might be prehistoric, in a sense where prehistoric, when I use that term, I'm just talking about anything that was present before they formed their story, and blotted you out and tilled you. These are orders of this God or one of these gods from the Bible. And again, we can always go back to Genesis 1 when it said God made the heavens, plural, and the earth. So keep that in mind when I show you some of these images. Now, it sounds like it's all over the place right now, but we'll get there. And then the forces that they use would be these warriors and these rulers and landowners. And then again, the merchants would be those that are the running man or the in between guy or whatever, that are running the world business. And a lot of these people have more power than some of these other people nowadays because of so called money, okay, and riches and power, okay, and control. So then the Sudra or Shudra would be those farmers, herders, manual workers. Now, today we would think of that as the people that are out there in the sun, that are uh, harvesting avocados and uh, grapes and different things that we consume today. And a lot of times we think of this when we see uh, our family members, to a certain extent, that are in Mexico or even India, in a somewhat of a poorer status than the hierarchy in the places that they dwell. Um, but again, in history, they'll show you images of so-called African Americans, which are Aboriginal people. Um, okay, because again, the earth was first. Okay, so when he started to create the heavens and the earth was first of dark, chaotic mass, whatever, whatever. I think that is talking about the existence of you in your natural state or status. Okay, this is before they were able to intertwine or connect or to uh, cultivate or irrigate or mix or plant seeds or whatever, because again, they have you thinking this is only one way about gardening, but also we were talking about produce, and that includes people being fruit and such things as this. Okay, so these could be also herders, like Cain and Abel and all this other stuff. These could be herders of people, slave masters, these particular people at that time too. Okay. Um, and then the outcasts are the ones that are in the lower positions that are always working, 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 and sending their children off to their oppressors to be educated. Um, and they don't have time to focus on anything else but that. And that's the way that they're going to be. And more than likely, their children are going to be that way too. Because again, if you're an Aboriginal, you're never going to be able to get to the top of this particular pyramid scheme. Okay. So again, so you see the foot, or those that made the trailblazers, or those who treaded the way for this particular construct to be available. And then it's funny how this says no. There's a no button, and there's always trying. It seems like someone's always trying to make a connection, and there's nothing for you, right? Okay. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of general things that I just wanted to point out. Okay. So again, here we go here. So again, when he's saying that God made heavens and earth, again, when you say that when you die, you're going to heaven, which one in particular are you talking about? Because the first sentence in the Bible describes that there are more than one. So why wouldn't this particular, if gods supposedly are in heaven, why wouldn't we talk about other gods? Why are we trying to say that there's only one when there's many heavens? Again, my father's house has many mansions. What are we talking about? Are we talking about many heads of state? This is why their head is on your money. See? So again, are we talking about, and again, once you let them lead whatever information or what occurs naturally in the minds of your youth out and plant what they want in it, then again, you become thinking just like these people and thinking that this particular God, which is nothing but a higher, someone that dwells in heaven or in his abode. Heavens is just a higher up elevated place or status. And again, the abode is just the home of God. So again, if you have these people in your mentality and your mental that have replaced anything that's organic or natural to you, then again, what are we talking about here? If they're making all the decisions for you as a people, not taking into account your so-called culture or prehistoric ways that they've been stripping from you ever since, that are still in you, you just have to be able to know how to tap into these particular aspects or these realms. Okay. So again, that's a lot that brings me to this whole thing that's going on, and the fact that they're targeting certain people, along with showing you on the news certain people being targeted in all these ways, because they feast off of that fear, that they use propaganda in their tools, including entertainment and all these other things, to instate or even deal with your subconscious, and it always involves some kind of fear. Okay. Or some kind of pressure or something on you in particular. Why would they be doing these things? Because again, there could come a time when we are elevating to naturally or due to nature or the air or the sun or whatever, because they want you to stay inside and keep something on your face. You can't breathe in fresh air. You're breathing in the same toxic air that your body is trying to get rid of and bringing it back into your respiratory system. So again, we know that doctors have come out and said that this is unhealthy. So what are they really trying to block you from? Why are they spraying the sun with these trails every day? Especially when we see kind of funny things going on with the so-called sun. Um, to what are they trying to block? See, why do they want you in the house? Why don't they want you talking to your family? See, because we're going to just start going a little bit deeper into this whole thing. Why don't they want you touching anyone? What is it that your body could be producing right now that may be something that's coming to go against this whole construct and to get rid of these particular people? We don't ask these questions because, again, we don't see anything on the real so-called spiritual realm because we're stuck in religious dogma and aspects of this whole thing. Okay, so let's keep going. So again, Brahma and teacher, the priests and teachers, these things represent all of the things that are indoctrinating you, mind controlling you all the time, every day. Okay, and it's funny how this thing has 7 horns or 7 spikes. Okay. And yeah, so again, talking about the warriors and things like this, and then the thighs. So this is reminding me of the I think it's Daniel's dream with the, you know, the man or whatever, the statue or whatever, with the uh iron and copper in the feet, you know, whatever, mixed or whatever. um so again, this guy has his feet up in Indian style and is talking about these particular people are the laborers, and then the Dalits or outcasts are not even included. They will be underneath this, or in the ground, or in the Sheol, or in hell, or when, like this other one said here, dealing with the work with waste. See, but thou art rich. See, who are we talking about in that instance? Okay, because you're rich in minerals, resource, you know, besides the stuff that we put in our body and contaminate because we've been told it's a good thing, but now we know it's a bad thing, and you know, so it's all kind of shit that's going on, right? So, and then it says the dead bodies of people or animals, because we know that animals are also people when you look it up in etymology. So again, in some instances or at certain times, okay, we know that they call people monkeys and animals and everything too. And we also know that when you're calling yourself things like Black and African American, which are not nationalities or races or any of these type of things, then you're pretty much dead and you don't matter to society. Okay, because again, lack of knowledge. Somebody in the Bible's people is ruined because of lack of knowledge. Now again, just because I'm saying that these people are these particular people and their founding fathers would go along with your forefathers, because that has to do with ancestry, and and founding fathers has to do with lineage or race, um, a certain race, and their climb to the top, where what am I trying to say? When it comes to ancestral, that is a heir or somebody that is an heir. I think a descendant may be even separate too, but we're not going to go that deep into it today. So again, we see those things. So now, like I said, we're going to be talking about a couple of different things here. This one is not one that I want to talk about today, but this has something to do with amalgamation and things like that, what we're going to start talking about soon. So this is white slavery in the East in the harem, maybe. And you see how this is a slave. They're getting her ready to send her off to probably South America or a place like this, in order to use her to entice the people, the original people from over there, or native or indigenous people from over here in the Americas, in order to, so when they said that the fallen angels or the Nephilim took the many wives as they saw they were fair and all this other stuff, I'm thinking that this is pulling me towards the Suriname, or in South America. Uh, this is pulling me towards, you know, them taking these particular wives from God or whatever, and then, you know, taking them as their own and producing a choicest fruit, or a sort of fruit that was forbidden. Okay. So anyways, this image doesn't have anything to do with it, but I wanted to show you this because all of these images, I made sure they were talking about the Maori people, okay, because it was easiest for me to find. So these are Maori people. We see that she has more of a kinky texture to her hair. Over here, we see that texture. This girl's hair is a little bit more silky. So is hers. We see a little bit more of a coarser hair here. And then we see the skin color changing here. Okay. Because a lot of times when we look at images of Native Americans and their wives, or, and I'm going to call them Native Americans because they look like the newer addition. So, or indigenous people and their wives, you'll see that some of these people had more American features, but as time went on, you can see the more Asian, okay, women being brought in. um I don't even know if we can call them Asiatic, but you can see that Asian version being brought in that are lighter skin, straighter hair, and they are marrying with these men. And they are sitting at the same level as these men, but then you'll see the darker people sitting at the bottom in a chair or on the floor. So again, this also, all these images and stuff have something to do with symbolism, all the time. You see? So, um, and let's not get it twisted. At one point in time, these people were down, right? But by the time they got cameras, so they say, and imagery, they started to, and before that, they can just draw it how they wanted to. But then they were able to put more images that are available to us now, um, with the darker view original peoples at the bottom, the earth at the bottom. Okay. So this is another image of Maori people. Okay. So you see this person here. This would be considered to me either a native or maybe even indigenous person. Okay. These people are the earth or the originals. When we're talking about the earth in the Bible, it says that the earth in certain instances is talking about people or earliest people or inhabitants or people of the land. So again, earth can be interchangeable in the concordance with people. So that's why I always go back to, and then when we talk about offspring or the surface, those are the people that are on top of or have been put in front of um, those particular original peoples. Okay. And they get to go to certain prestigious schools and things while they keep you in those indoctrination stations, which they all are. Okay. They're just meant to produce a different type of fruit at the end. Okay. So these are how these people looked at one point in time. Okay. Now, it says Maori brides. Okay. Tattooing their chins, blah, 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 high birth. One wears a robe of grasses and I was going to say something about this robe too, that he has this thing, but they have like the skirts on or whatever. So anyways, both wear sacred charms. Again, sacred charms just means some kind of a breastplate of a god or a symbol saying that you are, just in case they get confused, that you are a counterpart of the heavens, right? And then look at this, the grasses that we talk about in the Bible. One wears a robe of grasses. So which ones are the grasses that we're talking about? Okay. And then the robe of feathers, which we're talking about the grasses or the offspring. Okay. Grasses are talking about people, or in abundance, sorry. People, a group of people in abundance. Excuse me. And then the one I would consider to be the fowl of the air. Now this female here, I don't know, there's something different about her features that look more still anchored to a mixed or or Aboriginal woman. I can see features of an Aboriginal woman within her face. Okay. This woman here looks like she might be something else, Slavic, Russian, something or whatever. But it's funny how, again, she has the grass and she has the feathers, because we're talking about offspring and we're also talking about fowl of the air. French, I can even maybe think, okay, or something like this. All right. So let's keep going. So this is a Maori chief's wife. This is someone I would look at, and again, we're just looking at this on the surface, but this is someone with the texture of her hair and her features that I would call an indigenous person, meaning she's closer still to the originals. This is an offspring of an original woman and a foreign man, okay, that sprung from the earth. She came out of the womb, possibly of a original earth woman, Mother Earth, or maybe an indigenous person, which was offspring already, mixing with another swarthier, straight haired person that might be foreign. Okay? These women, now again, this may be her hair. It kind of looks like a wig that's strapped on. I'm not sure. She looks more original. I'm not sure what kind of, maybe this is animal fur, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's feathers. Maybe it's feathers. But this woman looks like a so-called black woman. I would call her at least an Aboriginal or indigenous darker hue person, one that went, or Amerindian that went, uh, there's Amerindian and Amerindian, I think. But anyways, one means that they've progressed over to being lighter and more fair in that aspect, and one they have receded and went back towards the darker root or the earth. Okay. But this woman, and because of the features, now it doesn't even look like a woman to me. This looks like a man to me. Okay. Because again, this transgenderism did not just start here. And it looks like this person is telling this person what to do, and this person is doing it. See, coaching, or even when we look at the Egyptian caste system, you'll see that the darker hue people are assisting the scribes in writing things. Okay. When it comes to uh, their system. But anyhow, it looks as though she's chilling on her knees and like, yeah, no, put that there, whatever, whatever. And this person is doing it. Now, this doesn't look like a woman to me at all. Again, this is just at first glance. I think this is a transgender because, again, a lot of these people were eunuchs that were sent in order to uh, do work for God. That's what the caste system was all about. Okay. And so they were transgenders posing as women. And this is why the people would come there and not have children with these particular people, or so-called have a hard time, like some of the first presidents and stuff. And they were having children actually with their women. Okay. And sometimes they were raping their women because, again, women would be representing also, I think we're going to see it here in a minute, men. Women is just say, when they're talking about at a certain time in history, when they're talking about woman or women, women included man, child, and woman. It was just a group of people that were about to be, how did they say they used to get married in caveman times, beat over the head? You know what I'm saying? Or grabbed by the hair and swung around. These are the people that were going to be being tilled or brought down. Okay. And they're going to wed and they're going to accept their husband, whether they like it or not. They're husbandmen. Okay. Just like we see in Abraham Lincoln's family line, that actually, when we look at his family tree, that it says that his uncle was the husbandman of America. Okay. So man is equivalent to anyone who came here from a foreign place in order to state his claim or wed or be wed with a woman, which is the groups of people that would be in the land that they were going to conquer or colonize. Understand that so that we don't get confused. Because once you put all this into proper perspective and with etymology, you'll start to see how it's happening and it's still happening and what we can do to maybe change it. Okay. So again, you see these women here. These are Maori people. Again, these women look very similar. She looks very similar, but the nose is getting a little bit, it's a little wider here, even here. So again, this shows you that these features with different hair textures and everything, how this occurred. But I'm pretty sure these people in this person is sitting closest to this man. Okay. And I don't know if this is her daughter or sister, but again, these particular people right here all have different hair textures, but similar features. Because some of these people are the original, like it looked like this sister right here will be an original. This could be an indigenous person, which means the offspring of this person or his master or another person over him that would be coming in and laying with his women in order to produce children. So these would be his many wives that would be producing children not only for him, but for other people possibly. Okay? So when we look at this, we see that this may have been the way that the original Earth mothers of Maori looked. Later on, you get something a little bit different. See? And like I said, I don't know if this is supposed to be dressed up as a woman, but I don't think that this is a woman at all. I think that this is a man. This one too. This one too. Okay. And maybe even this one. Okay. Just saying. And these could have been having babies with these people too in order to produce more stock, like the sand of the sea. I mean, we just have to just look at this a little bit. So again, I know this is taking a little bit longer than I wish that it would, but I'm just trying to show you how it comes um, to be that the people in all the places around this globe, I think, and I go back to Pangea, that were they could have been in Canada. Again, I haven't done that much extensive research there, so I cannot tell you. But it seems where I showed you guys before, where those mounds are, that line or wall of mounds in Canada, right north of America. But Canada did come down a little bit further at some time in history. But I think that that was the cutoff area for particular people. That's just my opinion. And a lot of people came down instead of coming from the east or the west. Okay. So when you think about that, anything closer to the equator, these people would have been darker skinned people originally everywhere. That's just my opinion. Okay. Um, yeah. Okay. So in the more tropical areas. So now these would be native because these are the now. So these would be native Maori people. And why these particular people act like they didn't used to look like this is mind-boggling to me. But the fact that they have probably been brainwashed and manipulated and mind controlled like everyone else. So these are the people of today. And again, you see different features here, like the nose and everything. She might have still a slight something. This girl may have it. This girl may even have it. But the men, again, don't look, these look Italian or something. They don't look, original here. Okay. So these are native people. Not the original, far from the original, but they could be tied by genealogy or by a bloodline to the original. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. That's just what my analysis or my synopsis or whatever you want to call it would be. This is what, again, same thing with the people of Hawaii look very similar to this. Okay. This would be how the Aboriginal Maori people would have looked. This. You can see there might be some mixture already here, but in here, possibly, not really. But you see the hair texture on these people, and you see here, it might be different. So here and here, it might be different. But wait a minute, let's see what other clues are telling us that it might be different. Look at her jacket, and look at how light this baby is. And look at her covering, and look at his covering. So again, we could be correct, because look at their coverings, almost the same. And then look at his. Again, are these feathers here? Are we talking foul of the air? But look, his hair and everything looks different. Hers does too. And look at the baby. And then you have her back here over in the back in the cut. All this is symbolic for something. And then, I don't know what he's doing. Maybe pulling at her clothes or something. Maybe he's pulling at this woman here to go with him somewhere. I'm not sure. And these people are not paying attention really that much. Who knows? Again, these are the people that are close to the cliffs or rocks or caves or whatever. And again, do you see what these people look like? These are the original earthlings or earth people of Maori. And this person up here seems as though she might be already an indigenous person, which is going to have some features of the original people and their father who left his mother and fatherland to cleave onto his wife, which would be the place that he is going to have and to hold forever through through sickness and health, and death do us part. Again, what does that death do us part mean? Meaning that if you don't do things this way, then you'll be apart, set apart, or cast out, or cast away. It's just simple as that. And again, here are some more of those people. Look at this skin tone on this man. Now, I don't know if this is his hair or a hat. Come on now. And then look at this child here. You could see the changes right here. And look at these women. Look at them. And I think this is another transgender. I think this is a man, actually. Possibly this one too. Possibly this one too. And then we can look at that, and we can also look at the fact of what was going on when it comes to pedophilia and everything going on too with these people. If you're having these men raise these children, it's just a lot of stuff that is deeply embedded in society that we don't talk about, that you may be able to gain a better understanding as to where all this stuff came from. And it didn't just come from just out of nowhere. Okay. So it seems like this is his original, but again, he's brought in other wives, and these features are a lot different than their features. She looks a little bit more like him, but again, is this her mother? Because she looks like this one woman too. Not that much like this one. And again, these are men. This is a man, this is a man, this is a man, and that is a man. And I don't know if they have their hands in front of their robe like this so it can look like they have something there. But again, I think this is a woman, and this is possibly a woman. Okay. And I think that her dress, or her marking, her stuff or whatever, makes it so that she is also a earth mother. And looks like these are feathers, fowl of the air. And then this looks like this could be her offspring with grass or weeds or some kind of something growing from it. Same with these particular people. And this could be a person of the earth. Because again, this person kind of does look a little bit like her. Okay. And then I don't know, this looks like a little boy too, that they're trying to dress up to look like a girl. Okay. So let's see. So again, we're looking here real quick where it says, I just was looking up the bold part. Heaven is my throne, and some Bibles say abode, and earth is my footstool. Okay. What house will ye build me? Okay. Let's see, because there was a book I think I wanted to read a little piece of. My Father loves me, and abode with him, blah, blah, blah. And make our abode with him, will make his heart our temple. Again, make his heart. Where would the heart be on this particular image? Let's go back to it. Well, this is aligned somewhat with the heart. I don't know. But again, I'm thinking chakras anyway, but who knows? And I think that a lot of people are saying stuff matters of the heart, but again, the heart, or the heart being the second mind, but I'm not particularly all the way there yet. Okay? Let's see. Let's just go into here real quick. Okay. So this is the whole thing right here I want to read here. This is what the Lord says. Heaven is my throne. Okay. Heaven is his throne, and earth is my footstool. What kind of house will you build for me? Or where will my place of, repose be? And again, what are we talking about? Sorry. Are we talking about a fraction? Are we talking about a class? Okay. Are we talking about what are we talking about here? Okay. What is he wondering, what part of the house he's going to stay in? Meaning the priest, or you know what I'm saying? Any of those other levels in the caste system. Okay. It says, has not my hand made all these things? Okay. And so they came into being. So again, this is making me think my handmaid, like my handmaid. Okay. all these things. But again, I'm not saying it is. That's just what it made me think of, because then it says, and so they came into being. Because then again, when we're talking about living creatures, that's anybody that is in that triangle part of the caste system, not the people that are at the bottom on that platform that's holding the whole system up. Because again, that is the origin. Okay. So again, it's also reminding me of how we talk about, and so they became living creatures. Okay. Because again, they are living and you are dead by law, because they've taken your nationality or nativity or your standing and give it to their children in 1828, like we read in the dictionary, and even before then, okay, in some other dictionaries. So it says declares the Lord. So we're making a declaration, okay. And again, it made me thinking about have his hand made all these things, meaning the pen is mightier than the sword. And so are we talking about signatures and things that will be put on declarations or decrees and things of that nature? So this is the one I will esteem, he who is humble and contrite in spirit, who trembles at my word. Okay. So these are another cross references they're saying. Okay. Okay. So this even made me just think real quick about, it'll take something through the hump of, what is that saying? A camel, about the camel getting through the eye of a needle before a rich man makes it to heaven. So are we talking about rich in minerals, rich in melanin, rich in, a certain your substance, or your vicar, meaning being still close to what the origins would be. You know what I'm saying? Or are we talking funds here? See, we can look up rich and see what all we can find out. But okay, it says, or by the earth, okay, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the great city of the king. Again, I always think back of Cortland, Virginia being Jerusalem, and I don't know how vast it was at that point in time when it was called that. So again, who knows? But it always leads me over there to the southeast. Okay, when I'm thinking of this, when I'm in my mind's eye. Okay. But I tell you that something greater than the temple is there. Okay. And he who swears by heaven swears by God's throne and by the one who sits on it. Now, this always reminds me of Lincoln for some reason. Again, I'm not saying that these are my guys. I'm just saying I feel that I figured out what they've done, and they've misled us into worshiping these people in history by giving them biblical names and changing the calendar and time and changing the timelines and making up all these things in order to cover what really was. But the real is still in there. It has just been covered or hidden in a sense. Okay. And signs and symbols are the things that are going to help you unravel that. Okay. Okay. Or buried even, or blotted out, like it says in the Bible. Okay. From being a nation and all these other things that no one will remember. Okay. So yeah. So then I noticed too, the other day I was paying for something. I had two $5 bills, and I noticed that one has that abode, or it has that firmament looking round thing above Lincoln's memorial thing or whatever. And then a couple years later, and it reminded me of, you can see him sitting on a throne coming in the clouds or whatever, because for at one point in time the dollar had a sealed, just a clear dome on top, right, of the monument. And then later on, it was not, the dome was not there anymore. There was clouds of soot and smoke or whatever, like it says in the biblical text. So it's just always, see, again, because again, he is the one that saved people from slavery. You see what I'm saying? And let them come directly to the government or government, instead of having to talk through somebody. See, because again, those particular people would have been thrown, the seeds would have been scattered. So again, when we're talking about scattering Israel, we haven't really been scattered. Most of us are in the same place, except for when it comes to the Americas, I think. Okay, so us that are still here, I think because now we know that we are not from Africa, that we weren't scattered, that we were originally here, so we have to reprocess this really quick. But there were people that was brought over here and recorded to be brought over here up into the 1800s, and still even now in the multitude that have been documented to come here, that have been spread about the Americas. See, but even when it comes to Africa, it doesn't match the numbers that they told you in school, because they only brought 250,000 Africans from Africa during the entire slave trade, is the records show. Okay, if they even did that, but even if they did, these people could be political power, or they could have been brought here to ascend or to go over the earth as well, because again, it has something to do with your origins, not particularly your skin color and who you are. See? So, okay. Anyways, I think we got off track, but let's just keep going, because I'm going to stop it right here after we do this, and we're going to come back. Okay. So again, swears by the throne, and who sits on it. So anyway, okay, our forefathers worshipped on this mountain. Oh, and also there's some cool stuff that's underneath that Lincoln Monument thing, like an underground secret thing, and that I thought was pretty cool when I found out about it. But anyways, okay, which reminds me of the Etruscans. And it also reminds, and I did a video on that already when I think I did something about Rome and Lincoln Monument or something like that. I don't know. But anyhow, so it says the forefathers, again, forefathers, the fathers that came before, okay, worshipped on this mountain, okay, but you Jews say that the place where one must worship is in Jerusalem. Okay, so anyways, we're not going to read through all these. You can do it on your own if you want. I just wanted to point out the part about that. Then David the king sat up on his feet. Da, 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 da. Okay, let's see. But will God indeed dwell on the earth? Behold, the heavens, the heaven and heaven of heavens cannot contain thee. Okay, so the heaven and heavens of heavens cannot contain thee. How much less this house that I have builded? Okay, so again, this is also making me think. But will God indeed dwell on the earth? But then again, he said he didn't dwell on things made with man's hands. So, this also makes me think, are we going back to the source at this time? Because again, the temple in your head was not built by anybody's hand. It's just natural, organic. And I think that this eye, when people said they saw someone in a vision or in sleep, or when we're talking about the pineal in the Bible, I think it's talking about that gland and your connection to that, which all of these things that they put in your water and your food are calcifying your pineal, and making a disconnect in your being to be able to connect to that frequency or that energy, that is all. Okay, whatever they're doing with satellites and all this other stuff, and maybe even these G programs, okay, that this could be something that could be trying to keep, they're working so hard at it and being so adamant about it, because it's something that can keep you from, or even this, vaccine that's coming out, that they want you to be the first ones to get, since so-called Black Lives Matter. See, these particular things, I think, is what they're going to be using to try to, like in that movie, whatever the last Divergent film is, they were giving them this fumes through their mouth and nose. They covered their mouth and nose with this thing, and this orange fumes went inside of their body, and they forgot who they were. They brainwashed the children. They were kidnapping children and brainwashing them, which makes me think about all the missing so-called Black children in these times, okay? And they were taking them off to somewhere to brainwash them and reprogram them, right? And he said, what is going on? What are they giving them? And they said a vaccine. But the vaccine, again, was not with a needle. It was with a mask on their face, pumping some kind of fumes through the body. Uh, I'm just, saying, okay? Because we are wearing face masks right now, okay? So anyhow, let's keep going. Okay, so again, this is the caste system. We've already seen this one several times. This is where you are. there is enmity or a division between their seeds, which is like the sand of the sea now, and have all the privilege, okay, and power and placement, and you're still down here at the bottom again because you don't know who you are. Okay, so let's just read this real quick. No, I'm done. I'm going to stop there, and then we're going to come back and do the etymology and the reading. But let's just look at this really quick, okay? Because let's just start off here. So it says from foods production to processing, packaging, and distribution, at every stage there are environmental impacts, large and small, positive and negative. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Presently, 37% of the Earth's land. See, the land is also talking about people in the Bible. So the soil, the land, all of that is Mother Earth. That's the original. That is the original, the beginning. That is the earth people were here, or original people. They call Ab because Ab means you've been sent away from your status. But it's still the original people, okay, were there before Genesis. The DNA makeup of taking the soil and the water or the slime to create, or even someone may say that when they use clay, they use water to create something, okay, was the irrigation and cultivation and agriculture and all of these things of the earth. You. So that's taking your DNA and splicing and creating. Okay. So again, your genome, again, and a lot of reason why some of us can tap into this information and understand it at this time is because of your DNA makeup. And that's what that movie Divergent was all about. The last one was about DNA. See? So it's just very funny, okay? So it says percent of the Earth's land surface. See, the surface of the Earth, or the dust of the Earth, would be the indigenous people or something that was kicked up from that, okay? Is used for agricultural production. With all of that agriculture, now, whenever we use agriculture, irrigation, flooding, watering, irrigating, cultivating, tilling, all of this is dual to the treatment of people. Mainly the original people, some of the people that were brought in as Slavic people, the real slaves that came in, the real white Negroes or whatnot that came in, those particular people were treated unfairly as well. But at some point in time, they were freed by people like Lincoln and placed into the abode and left you down at the bottom, because when they harvested the wheat, which means white, from the tare, which is you, then they left them to be with the people. That's why you hear people saying that back in the South in the olden days, there was so-called white people hand in hand with so-called black people. And they were poor and hungry and everything too. Irish or whoever these people that they even planted with Native Americans or Indians or Aboriginals, whatever you want to call it. Okay? They helped them. They nourished them and brought them to life. And then, one second, and then those people were taken out and placed in a higher status, leaving you behind. How they say the Jews got what they needed, and then they stopped fighting for so-called black people in civil rights movement. So again, these things happen, but I have to go. I'm going to come right back with the more of this video. I don't want to have to edit anything. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to join us in the Facebook group American Aborigines Unchained for more videos like this and more information, alternative information like this from not just me, but others. Thanks a lot for joining me today, and goodbye.